Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Have you ever walked into a room and just, instantly felt the vibe? Or maybe known what someone was really thinking, even when their words were saying something else entirely?
Oh, definitely. That feeling is powerful.
It really is. Social intelligence. It's often kind of overlooked, but it's this incredibly potent form of intelligence.
Absolutely. Crucial in today's world.
So our mission here, we've gone through a ton of sources, articles, research papers, lots of notes, and we want to distill it all down for you. What is social intelligence, really? Why does it matter so much? And maybe most importantly, how can you actually get better at it?
Yeah, the how-to is key.
Right. And maybe think about this. What if you could really understand what people mean, even when they don't spell it out? What if you could read any room, connect with pretty much anyone, and handle social situations with, real ease?
That's the promise of developing SI, essentially.
Exactly. So we hear people skills thrown around a lot. But Daniel Goleman took it further, calling it social intelligence. For our listeners, what's the core piece of Goleman's idea we really need to grab onto today? Is it just being like an extrovert, or is something deeper going on?
It's definitely not just about being extroverted, although, sure, that can sometimes play a part. The most critical thing Goleman highlighted is that social intelligence, SI, is basically the capacity to know oneself and to know others.
Okay.
But here's the part that often gets missed. Unlike, say, IQ, which is a lot about internal processing, SI is fundamentally about external interaction.
Ah, okay. External.
Yeah, it's how well you read, navigate, and even shape your interactions with the world, especially other people. It involves cognitive skills, like picking up on subtle social cues, and behavioral skills, like how effectively you communicate or build genuine connections.
That distinction feels really important, this focus on external interaction.
Mhm.
How does that truly separate SI from its cousin, emotional intelligence, EQ? Because a lot of people know EQ.
Right, EQ is more familiar ground for many. It's a vital difference, though. Think of EQ as mastering your inner world.
Right. Self-awareness, self-control.
Exactly. Understanding your own emotions, managing your reactions, aiming for personal effectiveness. It's largely self-focused. SI, on the other hand, that's about mastering your interpersonal world.
So relationships.
Precisely. Understanding and managing relationships. Its scope is external social awareness, your ability to influence, to connect. So EQ helps you get a grip on yourself. SI helps you skillfully engage with everyone else. They work together, obviously, but their main focus is different.
Okay, that clarifies things a lot. So if SI is about mastering these interactions, what are the key ingredients? What actually makes up this intelligence? Are they like separate skills, or do they kind of flow together in someone with high SI?
They absolutely flow together. It's more like a synergy. Our sources tend to break it down into a few core components, but they're all deeply linked. First, you've got social awareness. Think of it as your social radar. It's sensing others' feelings, their perspectives. This includes empathy, being attuned to their moods, and social cognition, basically understanding how social situations generally work.
Right.
Then there's social facility. This is about how smoothly you act on those insights. It covers things like synchrony, effortlessly matching someone's rhythm or pace.
Yeah, like mirroring body language sometimes.
Exactly, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Also, effective self-presentation, influence, and showing genuine concern for others. And empathy, we mentioned it under awareness, but it's worth stressing it's not just understanding intellectually, but really feeling with someone. We also need situational awareness. That's walking into a room and just getting the atmosphere, the group dynamics, maybe subtle cultural cues, and crucially, self-regulation in social settings.
Managing your own reactions in the moment.
Yes.
Sure.
Managing your impulses, adapting to social norms, but without, losing who you are. And finally, relationship management. That ties it all together, nurturing those healthy, productive connections over time.
Okay, that paints a really full picture.
Yeah.
So let's bring it home for the listener. What does this all mean for you? If you're navigating a complex job or trying to build stronger personal bonds, why is SI not just a nice to have? Why is it indispensable?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental because it impacts almost everything. High SI literally builds trust. People just feel safer, more understood when they're around you.
Do you feel seen?
Exactly. It dramatically improves communication because you start picking up on what's not being said, the subtext, the unspoken needs. For leaders, it enhances your ability to inspire, to influence. You build incredibly loyal teams.
Makes sense.
In your career, especially now with so much teamwork, SI often boosts success. Promotions, opportunities. They often go to people who are good with people.
Yeah. That's definitely true.
And personally.
Yeah.
It strengthens relationships massively. It helps you avoid unnecessary conflicts, deepen that emotional connection, respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. It's huge.
That really lands the importance. Now, you mentioned the science behind it briefly. We hear about mirror neurons, the social brain, but how does that wiring actually work?
Yeah.
How does it create that feeling of connection or understanding? Is it more art, or is it really down to our biology?
It's deeply wired, definitely. The neuroscience is pretty fascinating. Daniel Goleman really dives into this. We talk about mirror neurons. These are amazing. They don't just fire when we do something, but also when we see someone else do it or feel something.
So we kind of simulate their experience.
Sort of, yeah. Your brain tries on their feelings in a way. It helps us understand intuitively. Then there are two key brain systems working together. The social brain, mainly the prefrontal cortex, that's our sort of analytical hub for making sense of people and situations.
The thinking part.
Right. And the emotional brain, especially the amygdala, which reacts super fast to emotional cues. What's really cool is that well-developed SI creates this really efficient feedback loop between them.
So they talk to each other quickly.
Very quickly, allowing for fast, accurate reads of social cues, and then shaping more effective, intuitive responses. It's not just mimicry, it's rapid, deep processing.
That's a great way to explain it. So for our listener, how can you spot this in action? How do you recognize someone with high SI? Or maybe more usefully, how do you notice these traits developing in yourself? What are the signs?
Yeah, there are definitely observable signs. Someone with high SI is usually really good at reading body language. They notice the small shifts. They can, as you said, read the room, sense mood changes almost instantly.
Okay.
They tend to handle conflict with a certain calm and strategy. They're not just reactive. They think about the interaction. They seem to know just what to say, but also, crucially, when silence is better.
Knowing when not to speak.
Exactly. You often find people just feel comfortable around them, at ease. They can be persuasive, but it doesn't feel pushy. And a big one, they tailor their communication. They don't talk to everyone the same way. They adapt.
That makes sense. Now, this sounds incredibly valuable, but there's this common idea, isn't there, that some people are just naturals, born charmers. Is SI actually fixed, like IQ is often thought to be, or can we genuinely learn and develop it?
That is absolutely the best news about SI. It is not fixed. Not at all. It can definitely be learned, cultivated, improved significantly over time. It takes conscious effort, though.
Okay, so how? What are the techniques?
Well, a foundational one is simply to observe more, speak less, really pay attention to nonverbal stuff. Posture, tone, micro-expressions, they often tell you more than the words.
Get it in your own head a bit.
Precisely. And then practice active listening. This isn't just waiting for your turn to talk. It's making eye contact, nodding, maybe paraphrasing back what you heard so it sounds like you felt, and validating their feelings.
Like instead of jumping in with, oh, I know how you feel.
Exactly. That can sometimes shut people down, even if well-intentioned. Better to say something like, wow, that sounds really challenging. What happened next? It shows you're listening and invites more.
That's a good practical tip. What else?
Ask open-ended questions. Things like, how did that make you feel? Or what are your thoughts on that? It shows genuine curiosity and gets people talking more deeply. Also, critically, manage your own emotions.
The EQ connection again?
Yes. If you're easily triggered or overwhelmed, you're going to miss social cues. So techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, just pausing before reacting, they help you stay present and perceptive.
Okay.
And develop cultural intelligence. We live in a diverse world. Understanding different norms is key. Also, reflect on your interactions afterwards. Ask yourself, did I really listen? Did I interrupt too much? Was I clear?
Self-correction.
And maybe read widely, especially fiction. It's a fantastic empathy workout, putting you in others' shoes. Lastly, don't be afraid to get feedback. Ask trusted friends or mentors, how do I come across sometimes? Be open to hearing it.
That takes some courage, but probably very useful. Okay, so those are things what are things to avoid? What are the common mistakes or pitfalls we should try to steer clear of when working on our SI?
Oh, there are definitely common traps. A big one is simply talking way more than listening. If you're dominating the conversation, you're not learning.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. Another is ignoring nonverbal cues, missing the eye roll, the crossed arms, the shift in tone. Making assumptions too quickly is another, jumping to conclusions about what someone meant or felt. Also, trying to win every conversation instead of aiming for understanding. That's a big one. And not adapting your style to your audience. Using the same approach with your boss, your partner, and a new acquaintance probably won't work well. And then finally, being either overly agreeable all the time or needlessly confrontational, finding that balance is key.
Okay, lots to watch out for there.
Yeah.
So we've talked about what SI is, why it matters, how to build it, where does it really shine. Can you give us some concrete examples of SI acting like a superpower in different situations?
Absolutely. In professional life, it's a huge differentiator. Think about leadership. A leader with high SI, they build loyalty, give feedback that actually helps people grow, navigate tricky office politics smoothly, handle crises by understanding the team's emotional state.
Yeah, you can see that.
In sales and marketing, it's gold. Reading a client's hesitation, sensing what they really need, adapting your pitch instantly, that's pure SI. For networking, it's about building genuine connections, not just collecting contacts.
Right, quality over quantity.
Exactly. And customer service. Empathizing with a frustrated customer, even if technically they're wrong, that builds incredible loyalty. A purely logical response often fails there.
That's a great point. Now, it's easy to see SI in face-to-face stuff, but
Yeah.
so much of our life is digital now. Emails, Slack, social media. How does SI translate there when you lose all the body language and tone? Or does it just break down?
That's a huge challenge, right? It requires a different kind of SI, maybe digital SI. The lack of cues makes it tricky. A key skill is using emojis or tone indicators carefully to add back some of that missing emotion or intent.
The strategic smiley face?
Sort of, and it's vital not to assume negative intent from a brief or unclear message. Always ask for clarification before reacting. Hey, just want to check what you meant by...
Good advice?
Definitely avoid sarcasm in writing. It almost never lands well. Same for vague criticism, and maybe the simplest rule. Always reread your message for tone before hitting send. Just take that extra second.
Yeah, save yourself some grief later. Okay, so professional digital. What about where it arguably matters most? Or personal relationships? How does SI shape those intimate connections?
In personal life, SI is like the invisible glue. It fosters harmony. It helps you know instinctively when your partner needs comfort versus space, when to talk and when to just listen. It's about maintaining that emotional intimacy through real empathy and patience.
So less conflict, deeper connection.
Exactly. Think about a common argument trigger. Instead of snapping back with, "You're overreacting," which invalidates their feelings. A socially intelligent response might be, "Wow, I can see this is really upsetting you. Tell me more about what's going on."
That completely changes the conversation, doesn't it?
Completely. From conflict to connection.
Can you point to any real-world figures, maybe people in the public eye or historical figures, who are often seen as having exceptionally high social intelligence?
Sure. Barack Obama is frequently mentioned. He had this remarkable calm, this ability to connect with very different groups, making them feel heard. You sensed his empathy.
Yeah, that presence.
Oprah Winfrey is another fantastic example. Watch her interviews, the deep listening, the way she attunes to her guests' emotions, that genuine warmth. It's palpable.
She really draws people out.
She does. And historically, think of Nelson Mandela. His ability to navigate the intense emotions and social dynamics of post-apartheid South Africa, to foster unity after such deep division that required extraordinary social intelligence.
Wow, those are powerful examples. Okay, so for listeners who are really intrigued by this and want to go deeper after our chat, what resources would you point them towards? Books, perhaps?
Definitely. I'd say start with the source, Daniel Goleman's Social Intelligence. It really lays the foundation. For timeless, practical tips on connection, you can't beat Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a classic for a reason.
Still relevant today?
Absolutely. Revisiting Goleman's book on emotional intelligence is also great, as they're so linked. For specific skills, maybe The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox-Cabane, it has some very practical techniques. And for handling tough conversations, Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference offers fascinating insights from hostage negotiation that apply surprisingly well.
Great recommendations. So as we wrap this up, it feels clear that social intelligence, it's way more than just being charming or outgoing, isn't it?
Oh, much more.
It's this really sophisticated art almost of tuning into people, reading between the lines, responding wisely, and building relationships that actually genuinely matter.
Exactly. It's like unlocking a kind of superpower for navigating life effectively, for finding meaningful success. And the best part, unlike IQ, it really can be grown. You can get better at this with practice.
It reminds me of that George Bernard Shaw quote.
Oh, the one about communication. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place.
That's the one. It fits perfectly. We think we're connecting, but often we're missing so much.
Precisely. SI helps bridge that gap.
So here's a challenge for you, our listener. As you go about your day, try to reflect on your interactions. Try to consciously step into the world a little more aware, awake, more connected. Maybe pick just one SI technique we talked about. Maybe it's asking one more open-ended question or really focusing on listening without interrupting. Try it out.
See what happens. You might be surprised.
You really might. See how it shifts things, the connections you make?